All right, let's talk about this menagerie over the past week. All right. We last spoke, I guess, last week. Members, we talked on, we talk every Sunday. But just to give you an idea, coming into today of where I was at, I wasn't expecting to do a whole lot today. Knowing that we were gapping up significantly and on top of yesterday's rally, you guys know I just don't feel comfortable chasing to do a whole lot when there's green like we've had. But what I was hoping for today, a lot of times when you get a washout similar to what we just went through, right? Where you get sentiment washed out, breath washed out, you get some hedging involved, you throw in a binary event like the Fed, the FOMC, or whatever it may be. After that event, and basically there's nothing to panic about, right? You get that unwind, right? And that's kind of what we call it a lot of times the sentiment squeeze, right? The snapback sentiment squeeze. And it usually comes sometimes maybe one massive day, 2 days, and you get basically where you get that trending type of day, run through all stop signs, right? Overbought, upside niners. I'm talking about intraday, and you melt up. Okay. Usually on the second day, okay, which was today, where you get now short-term tactical trader sentiment is not off bullish signal. Now it's heating up because everybody's chasing, trying to put back on exposure that they probably puked up into the weakness. You get a scramble off the opening bell, okay, like we saw. All right. And then what usually happens, and what I was hoping for, you get right around here, okay, you get a pause, sometimes, just lengthy consolidation throughout the day. Sometimes you get a decent retracement, but usually it takes some time, right? So after the early morning scramble, first half hour, you got everybody chasing into that. At the least, you go dead into late afternoon. So it's a lot of chop. Everybody who chased into the highs, day traders, they get eaten up, especially on the premium end if they're playing options. All right. And that usually will happen when we start to see some heat from those short-term intraday sentiment signals we look at, right? So where the anti-VIX technically was, flashed a sell signal. And then I think another indicator we follow, the squeezometer, got above 60, right? That was generally right into here, right? And you could see on the chart the heat, right? Shaded red, here's Pink Panther, right? So what I was hoping for, and this was going to be my only trade from that point, I was hoping for, like I mentioned, some sort of breather or retracement, right? Catching these bulls that chased into the highs. And then what I would have been looking for would have been that gamma squeeze into the close, right? That we see a lot of times. Okay. So now everybody who chased, they're losing money. They throw in the towel throughout the day. Again, we're talking about tactical traders here. That's what we're following intraday. Okay. And then out of nowhere, late day, you get that just melt up all the way into the bell. Okay. That didn't happen. Okay. And that pretty much put me on the sidelines because I wasn't the heat off our intraday sentiment indicators, right? And the put the calls got pretty washed out as well. That kept me on the sidelines the whole, basically the late morning all the way into the bell. Okay. But what you'll see is, as much as we complain about that, and there's money to be made here, right? Obviously, there's money to be made in here. Who's to say, right? You don't have as much wiggle room or margin for error. Like if you look at where we ended up, we pretty much ended up right where we were seeing the stuff we follow telling us to be more careful, more cautious, because the risk reward from here, right? That's what those signals tell us. It's not a switch. They don't automatically send the code down to the CBOE and tell everybody stop buying calls, right? It's not a crystal ball. Those signals, what they're telling us is basically that the risk reward from this point is just not worth it, right? And that's what you'll see. A lot of times you'll get further stretch, sometimes more than others, but keeping you on the sidelines ended up being the smart move anyway, because like I said, how much wiggle room did you actually have there, right? Whether you're looking to buy something here, do you have enough time to get out for a profit before you get stuck in some death, right? So in my opinion, that's where the readings we follow on a day-to-day basis on different timeframes become quite useful. Okay. So just to rewind, that's what I was looking for today. Now we'll see how everything looks. I don't know if this fade late is going to help us out much on the shorter term signals, right? The intraday signals we follow. But outside of, again, I think it's the most important thing. You got to understand timeframes, and you got to understand what time frame you're trading on, right? What time frame you're playing on, and what you should be paying attention to. Because if you're not, and you're just looking at everything as a whole and trying to gain an edge from it, it's not going to happen, right? So what I just discussed, that's extreme short-term and intraday time frame, right? That's all that should concern you, is if you're playing during that time frame, what I just mentioned. Okay, on a little longer term time frame, right, which we call the short term, right, beyond the intraday, short term, things are still really bullish, right? The pullback that we've seen, there was a lot of good that came out of it, a lot of good. All right, we'll look at a couple things here I got today that I brought. Come on. All right, so this is something we like to look at, right? And again, we're no gamma aficionados here, right? We follow people who know a lot more than gamma than we do, and we take what they have to say and try to implement it in the stuff we look at. But one thing we know over the years, right, is when in bull markets and in bull trends, when SPY gamma exposure, and I guess there are different calculations to it, but the calculation we use, I think it's from Squeeze Metrics, this one in particular, right? When it dips to zero or negative, and we get our tactical sentiment signals line up with that, right? It usually sets up the stage for a pretty significant squeeze. Okay. And why does it work well with sentiment, right? We've discussed it in the past, because what happens is sentiment's telling us that players have been quite bearish and there's been a lot of selling, and anyone on a trading basis that was going to get shaken out and sell probably has already done so. Okay, so sellers should find some exhaustion around these levels. That's what the sentiment stuff tells us, right? And what this tells us is if that trend does shift, right, and sellers do exhaust themselves and now some buying comes in, when that turn comes, you're going to get an added bonus of momentum from dealers who have no gamma exposure to the S&P 500, you're going to get some added bonus from them buying, right? Buying the S&P 500 as the market pushes higher. Right? There are other technical terms, Vanna, shit like that, whatever. Right? You could talk to other people who know a lot more about it than I do. But that's what we look at. So sentiment tells us, okay, we're at a turning point, right? And this is like the cherry on top, telling us that when that turn comes, it's significant enough for us to pay attention and to be a part of it. All right. And as you can see, again, there's the one time, that's what sentiment with all these indicators, right? That's why they don't bat 1,000. Okay. There's the one time where, like COVID, the COVID crash, or like 2008, where nothing matters. Okay. There's greater forces at play and everything fails. Okay. But the other 9 out of the 10 times, you see stuff like this, where you get these V-shaped bottoms, right? And significant squeezes off of these signals. So we had this on top of sentiment into the lows a couple days ago, right? And as you can see, this really, coming into today, still had room for upside, right? So it gave us indication that if the market does show some strength early on, dealers are going to probably chase and have to put on exposure. Okay. So again, we'll see where this stands at the end of today. But we had a really, really nice little setup for a squeeze over the past couple of days. Here's the problem now. Okay. The problem right now, and it's not really a problem, but here's a little pickle word. Okay. We are still seasonally in not the best of time. Okay. Right. We've talked about this forever. Okay. I'm not even talking about a crash or correction. I'm just talking about a shitty time to do anything. Right. Volatility, chop, could be a variety of things. Okay. Not necessarily a long or short thing. But we are still seasonally, right? This is Goldman's seasonality analog. Okay. So we're right here. And, not the best setup, right? Going in. On top of that, we have China, which is an absolute effing debacle right now. Everything that's going on there, not just with the real estate company, just economically slowing down, putting the clamps on all sorts of businesses, the works. Okay. The good thing is they're starting to pump some liquidity into the system, which they're going to have to do because they got headaches. How much and do they do enough is the question. None of us know the answer to that, right? But we'll soon find out. But the point I'm making is, now that we've rallied a bit here over the past couple of days, okay, there's short-term risk, okay? Because what's happened, and you hear a lot of like the Gamma Gang and a lot of people who are talking about this right now, what happens is, because of the snapback rally, players have taken their hedges off. Okay. So now you get some sort of headline or something over the weekend out of China, and players aren't all lathered up in all that protection anymore. Okay. So come that open, right? So if it's over the week, come that Monday, they're going to have to put on some protection. That's going to add to some downward pressure, and it's going to weigh on the price action. Okay. The good news, though, is based on bigger picture stuff, there's been a lot of damage here to where, honestly, I don't think these lows are going anywhere, where we need to be a buyer of that weakness. Okay. That's where the opportunity is now, right? We want to look to buy off those sell-offs, off that selling. Okay. The tricky part is being long here. Okay. If you're long, if you have overnight risk and you have lower entries with some cushion, it's not as big of a deal, right? But to buy, right, or to get aggressive right now here, you have to understand what risk is out there right now. Okay. And in my opinion, it's not major risk, right? Because I still think they've done enough damage to where, here's what I mean by that, right? If we do get selling, okay, all those sentiment indicators that we were seeing light up and tell us that players have done enough selling, right? They're going to start lighting up again. You understand? So we're close enough to where there is that sentiment support. If we continue higher, which is very possible with this effing market, right? If we continue to push higher, then I think it adds more risk the longer we go without seeing a little gut check, a little volatility. Does that make sense? You know, the quicker we get these little shakeouts, the quicker we get a negative headline and some selling, the stronger that support off the sentiment we have right now is. Okay, so that's the issue, and it's a good thing as well. But that's what I see right now in front of me. Now off, a couple day rally. Okay, ideal. Again, ideal. Every time I say that, the complete opposite happens, right? Ideal scenario would be we do get a little selling and volatility, and instead of just ripping to new highs, okay, or ripping to test highs, we kind of hang around here, right? And you get you get chopping some volatility through a seasonally poor period, okay? But during the interim of that, right, while that goes on, it's going to only add to the strength of the setup the longer that goes on. The problem becomes in these things when you get this and then you get a rally that wipes out all the good that happened here. Okay, so now what you have is you have a situation where players are naked. They're not hedged, right? They're not concerned. They're complacent. And the littlest crack, right? Any sort of negative headline or event, and you get the rush to the exits and scramble for protection and all that stuff. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But if we continue to push higher, again, not even rip, I'm not even talking about a rip higher. I'm just talking about continue to grind even higher without some sort of volatility and gut checks in between, all set till end of year. Yeah, it's amazing how quickly people changes their tune. It went from this thing in China was a problem, possibly systemically, right? And could be a disaster. Then the Fed is going to taper and be hawkish. The Fed was hawkish and said they were going to taper. And, then everybody becomes bullish again. But that's nothing new. It's just on speed dial these days, right? Everything happens so much quicker these days. But, and you guys, those of you who have been attending this webinar know, for quite a while, like for me to have that conviction or even become more comfortable in holding some decent size swing positions, okay, I have to, it's more about time than percentage pull, right? A percentage pullback. It's just, we need something like before the election where you shake out enough bulls. Otherwise that risk is always going to be there. And, that's the thing about that risk. You never see what's going to set off that risk. Very rarely do you see it in front of you, right? It's a catalyst that just presents itself at the time. And because players aren't hedged, you get selling. Like, look at this, right? This was just another OPEX gamma roll-off set up in the works. The only difference, you guys remember we spoke about it, when the market started to sell, instead of people scrambling for protection and showing concern, what did they do? They didn't put any on. As a matter of fact, they didn't put any on to the very last 2 days. And even down there wasn't as extreme as they put over here and over here. You know what I mean? And what you're going to realize is as this continues, this is something we spoke about. People are going to look at it, protection, as a waste of money, right? Because it's been a waste of money. It hasn't helped them. Without realizing, you rather the protection not help, right? That's the whole point. Like, you're buying insurance that your house doesn't burn down. You don't hope your house burns down so you get the insurance, right? You buy it because just in case it catches fire, you're insured. But the market, they don't look at it that way. They look at it, oh shit, I pissed all this money away on protection. And especially, like we were talking, that pain trade where they're buying reopening names, cyclicals, and they're buying SPX puts, and the opposite is happening. That can really frustrate players. Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there. So those are the things. And listen, you guys see, right? Those of you who have been around this game, and even if you haven't been, you look around to people who have been around this game, who have lasted in this game, they always generally are looking at similar things. And those things are, how is everybody positioned? Because it's so important. It's so important. It doesn't predict what's going to happen, but it tells you a lot about how the risk may look if they do show up. You know what I mean? And what the upside may look like if you get that turn. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to. So, that's a thing we have to keep an eye on. Because again, right now, on a tactical basis, all that hedging and protection for the short term has gone up in smoke. It's gone. It's gone right now. So we need that little gut check for them to put it back on. And I think as they do that, you nail out at the least an intermediate term bottom. If we go and business as usual, like we've been doing here, you're always going to have this risk here. And, you talk to a lot of people, they're pulling their hair out of their head, swing trading throughout the summer, right? For the last 3-4 months. Anybody have any questions? But there's a lot of, like, look at this, okay? These are your traditional run-of-the-mill sentiment indicators, right? AAII. Okay, so this is retail, not the retail as we know it today. This is retail mom and pop investors. All right. And, this thing back tested, you back tested over the years, it's pretty solid. Okay, you got down almost to a bullish signal. I don't know how. I don't know how, but it happened. So you guys, this is COVID, so it's a bad. So you see this. Oh, is this the election? I don't know. But anyway, you see how you get kind of a rally, but then you linger here over the course of a little bit of time, and then it sets up a really nice move out. Like that's kind of what a lot of us are hoping for or are looking for to get aggressive out of. It's hard to get aggressive when you're doing this up here. Because by time you build positions, you know what I mean? You rally for 10 days, and then that pullback happens to be the pullback, you get buried. No? Right? So I don't know about you guys, but the way I put on any weight as far as positions are concerned, I need lows to linger, So I got to buy some into this selling, right? Then when it comes down there, I got sentiment again. I'm buying some more. Then again, I'm buying some more. And now I got some nice weight on for this. I'm not chasing into 10 up days and then I get caught in a pull. Yeah, I can't. I don't see how you could put much weight on. You could trade. You could, you know what I mean? You can make some money, but you can't. It's hard to, like I said, it's hard to get much exposure. That's what made, COVID, not the COVID itself, but the price action a beautiful thing. Look at this. Okay. This was the COVID crash. Forget that for a second. This, every dip, look what fired. Every dip. So every dip, you had a chance to put on more exposure. Right? Look at that. And a lot of times it doesn't happen in an uptrend. People were so torched from COVID and so scared that it happened while price action was going up. People didn't want to believe it. But usually when you get these multiple signals, they're into price range like chop. Then you could do some buying, and then when it finally goes, you got some wood. Yeah, like those names, Cash. The funny thing is, a lot of those names, I couldn't, not all of them, but the majority of the names, I couldn't pick any. I couldn't do any worse off the flow than I did as far as names were concerned. If, God forbid, I bought any of those software names or any of those names, you know what I mean? Forget it off those entries. Long retired. So, but I'm not looking for that type of setup again. You're talking about a major crash there, but something at least with a little period of time. The last time we had anything like that was this. Okay, we go over it every webinar, but this. Anything close to it was this. All right. So you had this where players just chasing heat, playing musical chairs till the music stops. Whoop, they get caught, right? You bottom out here. Into this, you could find something to swing. You get this rally, then you get another retest here, and into this, you can find some more stuff to swing. And now, you got a stronger setup, right? You shook out enough for a decent move where you don't have to worry about sentiment getting scorched off the first 5 days of rally. So anyway, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm waiting on for me to get really excited off any pullback or consolidation. In the meantime, I'm trying to trade, right? I've been trading a lot of equity rather than options because like in this type of environment, I need to use stop losses, right? It's got to be efficient. Like I got to be able to stop myself out because I don't have the conviction that the lows are in, you know what I mean? For good. So I need to stop myself out if it looks like the market has taken control over whatever I may be in. So I'm just playing more tactically. But again, so the plan is this, very simple. I know we talk about a million different things and I confuse myself sometimes. Here we need a little bit of a breather, a wash, a rinse, something. Right? But into that breather, we want to look for things to buy for trades. And by the way, the flow the last couple of days, we've been complaining about the flow. And it's gotten better in individual names, right? There's a lot of under the radar action that a lot of us like to play. Okay. I still think we can do that in this tape. Okay. I still think we could do that in this tape. So there's been that action for the last couple of weeks, but the last 2 days, coincidentally, as the market has squeezed nicely, buyers have showed up again, right? They were really, prior to that, they were extremely selective and all they were buying were names like MTTR, these cockamamie names, 8TER, SPAC names, small caps. The impression we've been getting from flow is they've been hiding, they're trying to hide from the indices. That's what we've been getting out of flow. The last 2 days, they want to be exposed to the indices. So we'll see if that continues. All right. Anybody have any questions or you want to talk about names quick? And yes, that was a really interesting sweep. There were 2 interesting sweeps over the last 2 days. One was this one, SPXL. There was a sweeper in the money, Jan calls. That's 3 times bold. Okay. And today, a name we never see, an ETF, XSVM, and that's the small cap value ETF, value with momentum, whatever that fuck that means. What's that mean? Leverage? Is that what it means? Oh, it's like small cap value and a little cherry on top, some momentum. Yeah, I don't like small cap Momo. Is that like, I don't know. We got to try to find out because it's just interesting to know. Maybe could be something they're targeting here. But the small caps, they still look good. They still look really good. The problem is you got to be patient though, you got to be patient. And it can outperform, the S&P 500 or whatever the case, but just a plain straight out long, it's going to be hard for it to bust out without the rest of the market. Path, yeah, Path had some long-term betting there. You know, Path looks really interesting. You know, I wish there was better looking flow than that. You know, something we can get it really excited about, but you know, can you blame them? If you like this name, buy it with some time. You know, buy it with some time. That's another thing, right? The individual names. What do they buy? Maybe we do go into a choppy period, but if that's the case, we might be able to make money in individual names again, especially if they go into these type of names like they've been doing. Yeah, Snap, they've been bombing for a while now. I mean, basically all year, but they bombed it in, I think, August or last month. November 75s. Looks good though. You know what I mean? Looks good. But be careful chasing. Just be careful chasing after a move of 5 days. Twitter looked good, right? Same thing though. Be careful here now. You know, Norse. I'm not telling you, I'm just saying in general. Larry Bird, you know, but you know, you had some interesting spots recently in this Twitter. There was another name that looked like this that you guys liked. The hell was it? FCX is commodities. I don't know. This is a tough call, Mike. You know, this is a tough call. I think longer term you'll be okay. I don't copper. I don't know. It's tough. I kind of like this one a little bit better. Tech. Yeah, FCX has got too much exposure to everything, you know, to the global economy, to China. It's just a tough call, a tough call. Mark, those names, I'm not a fan of any, as you guys know, those EV names, but they have been money, right? We talked about this one. I still think this goes higher. But, you know, I mean, Jesus Christ, look at the move. You know what I mean? Look at this move. This is ridiculous. This is a real nice move. No? So you got to be careful. You know, you missed it, right? Yeah, this thing really started to swell and heat up off that Bova note. Okay, I'm even putting a late tag off the Bova note because there was flow right before it. But, you know, now up here, you know, if you're starting to buy it here, make sure you give yourself some room if there's a breather to add, because, you know, look what you missed here. This is not up 50 cents. This is a huge move. QS, I tell you, this LCID, I traded a couple of them. This QS, I didn't touch. With all that flow, I just couldn't buy it. I couldn't buy it. This move today was sickening. You know? I don't know. This QS from back in the day, P, which how much riffraff money was in this thing into this, it kind of left a really like bad taste in my mouth to stay away from it, you know? So even off flow now, I can't even get myself to put my hands on it. But yeah, tradable moves. You know, there's been quite a few names like this, even without the EV names. FSR, I haven't even looked at it. I'm sure it's been moving too. Yeah. Ride, right? You guys, that's another one. You know, there's just so many. That's a buy, Stephen. That's a buy signal right there. I forget it, Panda. If you gave me your money and said, buy this for yourself, I still couldn't buy it. You know what I mean? I used to like this thing too, XPEV. I used to love playing this thing. China right now, I don't have much interest. You're dodging grenades over there, right? You're dodging grenades over there. Anything China related. Yeah, I know. No, I know quite a few people that really, really like this name. But I just, China, anything China, I can't do it. You need a clear head. It's not worth the risk of missing a winner. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, because the likelihood is a lot of these things are going to move together. So you're not just making a bet on XPEV, you're kind of making a bet on that sector in China and everything Chinese. They just, all these names, like there were a few names I really like this PDD. I really like this name, but I can't buy it. Luckin Coffee. Now, I tell that story all the time. That Luckin coffee, I didn't even own it. Cost me so much money because I sold other Chinese names that I was holding and I had profits on because it scared the living piss out of me, that Luckin Coffee. And I had equity. I didn't even have options. So I was like, oh my God, if this happens, I got an equity position right now. This is not good. And it was PDD and Billy. And look what they did to me after that. Look at this. That was after I sold. Yeah, all these things are really dangerous. Listen, for options, they're good. Put in what you're willing to risk. No biggie. Put in what you're willing to risk. That's your stop loss. And try to hit it big. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But, I see a lot of you complain when these stocks get killed. Not complain, but cry the blues type of thing. If you're going to get lumped up, then it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Later, Amar. My pleasure, Amar. You guys, what I'm looking for more underbelly plays. Steven, the type of names we like, Steven. We need some more of those names. I'm hoping they start to really hatch at some point. You got any you're looking at? Steven loves those names too. Likes to buy them early. The fours of the world. And you guys still holding on to this MTTR? I know I talk about it every day, but the real underbelly, exactly. I think so. You know what's going to be interesting about the cyclical names? A lot of it stems from rates, and it's not a coincidence. You had a nice pop in rates off the FOMC and some real interest in these reopening names again. So unfortunately, it's really, there's options in MTTR, Jim. Yep. Unfortunately, there's been, a strong correlation. So you got to just play it by ear. And that's why, like, if I'm playing in any of these things, I have to be able to utilize a stop loss in some fashion. I can't get too aggressive in these things and just sit back with time because there are other factors at play here. I kind of like what I like right now. I really like the underbelly. I really like those plays. We haven't had as much as we would like action in these things. Oh, I should rephrase that. We haven't had a lot of action in names that we may like, but I think that's going to improve. I really do. My favorite, I mean, a lot of these names have already hatched. That's the problem. So I'm hoping we see new, but this MTTR, this S got hit today. This one caught nice action off the IPO. Some of the software names, they don't have to be cheaply priced. They're just not your FANG S&P 500 names, right? MDB, that's considered my definition underbelly. Bill, you, exactly. These names. So as we've been saying, even though these names hatched, I think we still can trade them off pullbacks and dips, right? That's what we've been talking about. But, the real nice entry off these things are gone, just because they've moved. You know what I mean? They've moved. But these are real names. You understand? These are real growth names. They're not just some sexy SPAC story like some of these EV plays. They're real names. And that's why I like them. They're just, I think we have such an edge off the sweeper activity in these names because they're just not known. AFRM is considered an underbelly name, but you talk about bonkers. They light this thing up. They light this thing up, sweepers. They've been lighting this thing up. But this is probably another name you can play off dips. You can still play it off dips. You see sweepers come into some weakness. You got a shot at a decent trade, in my opinion. All these names, even though they're higher, Snow, this has been quiet flow-wise recently, but Snow, every dip, sweepers come in and they inhale it. PLTR. I'm surprised nobody mentioned this PLTR. You guys would mention this a gazillion times a day. Now the stock is strong like bull, and you guys don't like it anymore. Oh, you're all in it already. You're all in it already, Alex. But this is another one. Yeah, it's crowded, and that's why I think you're going to see this choppy price action like you've been seeing. But they buy every dip. They buy every dip. These things are in play right now. Nobody, because they're not going parabolic, you're not getting that frenzy around it. That's a good thing. But these things are in play. What other names? You guys know LSPD. That thing's been a monster, right? My God. There were quite a few nice sweeps. So this is what I want to see. DT. That's the epitome of an underbelly play, John. Oh, they got paid on these, boys. Fuel cell gene is more spec. You know what I mean? It's more like those EV plays. It's more of a spec play. This, DT, you're going to look, I don't even know, are they profitable yet? They are, right? So you're going to see, it's not going to happen to all these names, but these names are going to be the legitimate growth names, right? They become Twilio. They become Zscaler. All these names that are at $300-400 a share all started like this, all of them. Just nobody was talking about them back then. And they started to catch sweeper activity, and that was our edge. You understand? Yeah. DW, when the flow starts to really heat up in the space, trust me, there's a lot of us talking about them a lot. That's all we talk about. It's just been really scarce, you know? There hasn't been a lot of it. We went through a period where there was a couple of weeks where they hit up quite a few of them, but it's been really sporadic since. Yeah, this DT, like I got really gassed up on when they started hitting it up. You know, because it had all those ingredients. All those ingredients. LRN. Isn't that a stay-at-home play? LRN? Education thing, I should have said. Oh no. Stride. Oh, this is not it, is it? I don't know. I thought it was the like the Chegg. OSDK still going? Son of a gun. That was a nice spot. You still have it, John? Or you traded it? Or that was a nice spot. You have a little equity left. Nice. That was a nice spot. What about anybody have any new names? Maybe names that have come public, have been ignored. You know, this is another one. You guys are familiar with this? This is not really new. It had action and had a really nice move, but it's been in consolidation, FOUR, and caught a little sweeper activity recently. Yes, this caught a little action recently. LCID is not underbelly, but we've been talking about the name a lot. There's been a ton of sweeper activity in it, and Bova just got really gassed up on it. So I think ultimately you see higher levels. I just think it gets a little tougher now. You know what I mean? He had a pretty big move. UPWK, that's a good looking stock. It used to be a good looking stock anyway. It still looks good. This thing went bananas, this UPWK back then, right? Look at this. Gene, UPST is an underbelly name, but you know, the egg gets hatched, right? We want the next UPST. That's what we're looking for. You know, look, like here, what are you going to do here? You know, you're riding the momentum here now. You know what I mean? Like, this is nuts. This is nuts. And let me tell you something, right? We were talking about this name. This name gave you ample opportunity to buy if you like this name, right? You had this, you had this. Later, Parv, you had some really nice breathers in this name to look at for long entries. And I know like a lot of you were all over this name, all over it. This has been a monster. Yeah, AFRM, again, I think it goes higher. The flow in it is nuts, but you know, it's not new. It's right. Everybody's aware of this right now. What I would look for are these breathers or retracements where sweepers come into. Like that's what I would look. What did I do here? That's what I would look for. Panda Pfizer is not an underbelly play, but a decent spot here where we were looking at it the other day. If you like a decent spot. Hut, we had the Hut. I owned it. I don't own it anymore. This is a Bitcoin, right? IGT, good call, John. IGT is a name to watch. This thing is molasses, though. This thing can bore you to death. But IGT is definitely one to keep an eye on. Did you see the analyst on SGMS today? He gassed that thing up, boy. Craig Halem. CRSR, that's definitely a candidate. You had a Jan sweep there. Pretty nice size. And that's a decent spot here, too. This is definitely a candidate. Skills, is Skills a real name? Or is it just that's a SPAC, isn't it? Are they making money? Nah, they're not making money. Do they have any intentions of making money? Yeah, CRSR into the pullback, they hit it, right? When the market was selling. You know, if there was one thing, Stephen, that rubbed me the wrong way, maybe it was you that told me that this is like an AMC name. What's that crew? Reddit? Like, is this, they're all over this or something? Yeah. I mean, I don't know, I don't know if it becomes a problem. I'd rather not. You know what I mean? I'd rather it be kind of like under the radar. But I still like it. CLNE. I remember with T. Boone Pickens, this name. This is more of a spec name, in my opinion. You see, like when the Reddit stocks heat up, this one gets hot. PLTR, AMC, GME. Yeah. PLTR too. Like that got tangled up into that crowd. And I think that, that's why it's so choppy. That's why it's so choppy. SDC is more of a squeeze name. It's more of a squeeze name. I would just trade it. Again, this is just my opinion, guys, off the type of flow we see in these things and just me being familiar with them. Some of the best names, the type of names we're talking about, like underbelly, under the radar, growth names, real names, are the ones you don't even know until the flow hits them. You know what I mean? Like SE, we keep going back to that to pour salt in my wounds. You know what I mean? I had no idea what the hell this thing was. I thought it was a shipper when I bought it. I actually owned it and thought it was a shipper. And then somebody told me it wasn't. So like the names that really get hit hard and we're not familiar with them yet, or maybe, when weren't even looking at them yet, those are usually the best. D-Dog. That was once upon a time a incredible underbelly. Look at this. D-Dog. Forge. I don't know if I know this name, Forge. Oh, this is an IPO. What do they do? Cybersecurity, really? Want to be Okta. Interesting. Do they trade options yet or not yet? Maybe in a couple of days. So kind of like this, the S. Zip. Oh, I know this. Wait, no, Zip. Is this the one I know? No, I don't. Oh, ZipRecruiter, I know this one. There was another name you guys were telling me, the shipper, right? This thing has been hot. Zim. ZI, and that caught action yesterday. That looks really good. That looks really good. Yep. ZI. Yeah, they were talking about the lockdown. The lockup period was the reason for the selling today. Yeah, I owned the hut for about like a week. And then I sold it. But I didn't even know what the hell it was. It's a Bitcoin KMX. Let's see. Oof. You know what's another beast? Car. Look at this. Have you guys looked at this stock lately? Look at this. Avis. And by the way, once underbelly, now stud. Carvana was once an underbelly name. I thought it was a joke when I found out what they did when it was catch and sweeper activity. A car vending machine. I mean, I didn't think I thought people were busting my chops. Apps, I know that name. Caught some, I think today caught some flow. Apps. Yeah, I don't know. All these used cars and all that, they're printing money right now, right? They're printing money. Somebody mentioned LSCC. That's another beauty of an underbelly. Oh my God. If we held this LSCC like we wanted to, right? Oh my God. Oh my God. Max, you still have it? We can live vicariously through you. Good for you, man. No, not you, Matt. Max. Yeah, this has been a good looking stock. This has been a good looking stock. No, we don't have the patience. I don't want to use the word we because some of you do. You know, some of you it's your style. So but that's my Achilles heel. Yeah, I mean, you know what the problem is with some of these names is that they were SPACs. And that's the only problem I have with it, you know? And because of the SPAC bubble, you're just going to have a tougher time in these things. You know what I mean? But I'm not like, I have no idea. That's the I have no idea. Like, SoFi is real, right? But is profitability even on their map? Like, are they that real? You know, like I'm being honest. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I have a real difficult time with these SPACs. I really do. There was another one, this one that I want to tuck away. Remember this one we were talking about? E2? You know, this could be one, but like because of it's a damn, it was a SPAC, this one, right? Like look at this, they're bleeding losses. I don't know, but you do have Elliott in this, which makes me feel a lot better. But a lot of those big guys are getting buried in these SPACs. Oh man, I didn't realize where Zoom was. Holy moly. Yeah, Roku's been really tough too. Caught some flow today into strength. I like Roku sweeps into weakness, you know, but could trade higher. I mean, this thing's overdue for a bounce. Oh, is it just because a stay at home is why they're selling them like this? I haven't even looked at these. I haven't even looked at them. Angie, is that the cheaper name? Yeah, Angie had a little bit of flow today. There's another name that I get confused, a lot more expensive. It has to do with, I think, automated cars and stuff. Do you guys know it? It caught some really nice action. You guys know it. If no, it has to do with like the company Intel bought out, the Mobileye, remember? Something like that. Not the new laser technology. No, it's a bigger name. Not Angie, something like an Angie and Annette. Is that it? Annette? No, that's not it. No, not Adaptech. That's biotech. Ah, I'll figure it out. Here we go again. Rack my brain all night on these. MGNI, that's been quiet flow wise. Had a little bit of flow and then just went dead. Looks okay though. Looks okay here. You know, like I think that's what I think. I think it hangs here at the least. You know, and if you can get entries at decent spots, it's not bad. But yeah, MGNI, it's a nice name. And DM, that's there was chatter there. There was chatter there and they're buying lottos. So more spec action. Somebody mentioned TLT. What about those puts yesterday? Did you guys see those? ADNT, that was today, caught a nice sweep. That's not the name I'm thinking of, though. It didn't catch action today. It caught it a couple months back, a month or so ago. If I say it, you guys will be like, oh, I'll tweet it out later when I think of it. It catches flow. Yeah, this TLT, you talk about a head fake. Yesterday, you had the pop post FOMC after the put buying, and then got killed today. So many puts. ATR, I don't know. This is more of a squeeze name. What do they do? I don't even know what they do. Yeah, probably bank call. Yep, because of rates, right? No, not Genie. It's not as new of name of that. It's almost like it sounds like an Annette or you guys know it. It's over $100 or something. It's expensive. ATR subsidiary North America Internationally Artificial Intelligent Mohawk e-commerce software. So this is more of a story hype name. Oh my God. They're losing their mother. No, not Match. Match is a dating site. I'm talking about automated cars or whatever they're called. Not LiDAR. LiDAR is $1 a share. It's 100 and something. Here we go again. We did this the last time. I don't even, honestly, it may not even do the cars. That's what I thought. You guys remember Mobileye that Intel bought out? No, that's a SPAC. It's not a SPAC. And it's over $100 a share. You guys are giving me pink sheets. APTV, that's not it. No, but that's a good guess. That's a good guess. That's a good guess. INMD, what a beast that is. It caught really nice action like about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago. Hold on, maybe if I hit symbols, A, T, no, A. No, I can't even, if I had the second letter, I'd be in good shape. Starts with an A. ASTS is space. AR is oil. Are we for real here? I narrowed it down for you guys, and you guys are giving me oil energy names. No, it's older than any of those SPACs. No, not ASML. ANSS, no. That sounds a little similar to that, though. Atos, is he for real? Atos, a $5 biotech. I just said it's over $100 and it's into cars. He gave me a $5 biotech guess. Joey. Over $100 a share. It's up there. It's got to be close. You know, I haven't looked at it lately. APTV. That's not it though. That's a good guess though. It's on the NASDAQ, 4 symbols. That's all right, Joe. I'm busting your chops. Everybody's doing it. I keep 4 letters, 4. This is hysterical. This whole Zoom turned into this now. No, older than a firm. And not as popular firm, we would have guessed. A with an A. No, Altera. When I guess it, I'll tweet it out. I might not guess it. No, APPN. Isn't that whatchamacallit? New? Every week. No, not APPN. You guys will know it when I say it. When I figure it out. It caught decent action. It caught decent action. It doesn't catch a lot of action. Been running 4 letters. Not ANSS, no. ASAN, no. That's a big runner. I don't know if it's in my Twitter feed. I probably tweeted out when it caught action. I don't know. AZPN, no. Nope. Why do I keep saying like a net comes to my mind? Something like that. No way, Matt. It might be a semi. It might be considered a semi, but it's not AMAT. It's not any of those popular names like that. No, not ACMR. This is going to go on. How long? Not NXPI. No. You guys are killing me here. Amber! What? Oh my God. Wow. Look what happened to it. Jesus Christ. Amber. That's it. Amberella. What do they do though, honestly, to see how far off I was? Anybody familiar with the name? Cameras? I don't know. Amber. Yeah, we waste a lot of time in these. That's the one. For cars, right? Dash cams. See? I think, isn't it similar, Aaron, to Mobileye? Or I could be wrong. Amberella device semi for video enabled high division. Yeah, so in the semi group. All right, I think it's similar to like a Mobileye, if I'm not mistaken. That got bought out by Intel. All right, God, I feel better. Otherwise, this would have ruined my night. Drive recorder, drive camera monitor. Yeah. See, autonomous driving. Thank you, Sherry. You guys don't understand. This would have ruined my night. The whole night. God only knows how long I would have spent on it. But that's it. Now I'm even more sick looking at it. Look at the stock. How did this happen? Jesus. I can't believe the stock. You guys crack me up. 160 points. Look at this move here. Look, this is all earnings. And then just kept going. Wow. Wow. We need one of these, right? We need one of these to tuck away. We definitely do. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up now that we spent 4 hours trying to figure out Amber, for Christ's sake. All right. So what we need is a little digestion, weakness, and then, look for opportunities into that. Just be careful chasing for the next couple of weeks because there can still be some volatility lingering. All right, guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Enjoy the rest of the night and good luck tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.